Jan's so happy to hand that off. Like,
Right.
there you go, boy.
Move on.
Reporting.
Okay, we'll reconvene as Board of Assessors. What's next?
Motion on the consent calendar for the previous minutes of December 13th.
I'd make a motion to approve the consent calendar of the regular meeting minutes for December 13th.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
So that moves us down to number 33 was Elsie Studley. The only thing I found down there is a old shed over by the road that has no upstairs really, and I had it as a story and a half. If it called it a one-story, it's a $14 difference.
She's
Taking
expecting $500.
on the land and the building, but she can't argue that they redid the roof. It's gorgeous, or it's nice inside. Now, it's,
So it's not just a shed.
And the new windows and
Yeah,
stuff
it-
in her house. She said, oh, yeah.
Okay.
She was quite funny.
So you could reduce it $14?
yes. That's my recommendation.
I'll go with that.
She'll get a chuckle out of that.
So
She
moved.
does.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
The next one is Chester Billings, who lives with Catherine Luthold Billings at 978 Bremen Road. She was getting her homestead over on Friendship Road and sold it on October of '21, and her bill increased $2,506 and said, well, we could give you the homestead, but she didn't transfer
Yeah.
over. She's now living over here, so I would recommend that, $350,
You're recommending $350
Yes.
as an abatement?
yes.
I'd move that.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
The next one, we move down to David Smith. He's down on Crystal Cove and has a ranch-style home that was built in 2001. It has 1,484 square feet. We have as a C plus 10 average condition. Comparing it to his neighbors, one is a 1987.
I'm leaving for the night, but Max will turn off the machine when you're done, if you just let him know.
HUD
Right.
modular, and the other is a HUD double wide, so yes, his home is valued higher than theirs. And, I mean, it's just the way we priced out the homes.
You're agreeing that he deserves $1,400, that's what he's asking for.
No, I recommend no change.
Oh,
Deny.
Change.
sorry, I read it wrong.
Nope,
My apologies.
I would just say it's a fair estimate. His value was 187, it's now 287 for a 1,500 square foot home with a deck and attached garage, open porch on a 3-acre lot. 287 is plus 25, so I'm at 302, I guess, with the 312. is a
And that's the difference, is the houses are a lot.
The house.
Not even comparable.
Right.
Where's Crystal Cove? Where's this one?
It's off the Duck Puddle Road,
Oh, okay, yep.
Duck Puddle
Yep.
Pond.
Yep.
So no change there.
I recommend we deny, and they can go to the county if you'd like.
Is that, you want a motion for that? I'll make that motion, no change to 23-52.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All in favor?
The next one is Susan Johnson Moody down on Mail Road. She's got a whole thing of, bunch of pictures there, but the house needs everything. So I would put it into the poor category and recommend the 560.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
The next one is up on Store Mountain Road, gorgeous lot up there that he's got all hooked up for campers. And put about 3 up there on a lot looking out across the lake. And there was not an updated sticker on his camper, so I did bill him for that. but he did license it down in Massachusetts. He just didn't get the sticker on the unit. So I would recommend the 196.
So moved.
I'll second.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Next one is Alicia Robitelli, 207 Washington Road, the one that is partially sided. It's back to studs upstairs. There's no running water, no heat, no electricity, no sewer hookup. It just never got finished,
Oh,
and would recommend an unfinished on that one.
So moved.
second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Next one is a Martin Matthews. He bought 521 Reef Road off from Joanne Prescott for 190. I had 236 on it. They put on a room 24 by 29 and had a pool, and then they just put a roof over it, and all that's in there is insulated. They filled in the pool, and he put a floor down, but all you have is insulation on the walls and ceiling, and the greenhouse is gone. So that would change that by $154. I didn't.
No, so you didn't put it in there.
You left it blank.
Yeah, I gave you an updated one. That's one I
Oh,
just
yeah.
went up to,
Okay.
and I had, because I hadn't gotten out there to that one, if you want it.
All right, so. you
154.
You
is-
recommend 154?
Yep.
So moved.
Oh, I have that.
For 154.
I'll second the motion.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
And the next one is our higher end home. We have two that are what is known as a double A, and then to come even close to what they paid to build, went 200% on that. So doubled the double to get to the high end. This one is down on Dutch Neck, and they said, well, let's just go get an appraisal and see how we come in. They were at 2,854,000, and it went to 4,685,000. So they did have an appraisal done by an MAI out of Boston, Landvest Incorporated, and that's a copy of that. It was a $14,000 appraisal, just blew my mind there. But in essence, in comparing and looking at it, a couple things. I had the porch, there's a porch with a fireplace and whatnot, and then there's this hallway that gets you from the main structure over to the guest quarters. And he did not count that in part of the house, so that square footage was quite different. So that's where there was, I had 4,662 square feet, he had 3,820, a difference of 822 square
Do you
feet.
think he was right? In,
If it's not heated or not in with the main house, then it
Yeah.
would be a different.
Okay.
But that was one thing that he came up with. The next thing, he has in here that it's a 11.7 acre lot that, because it doesn't have road frontage, can't be divided. Well, we have back lots, so we could divide it if someday they chose to. But we don't price him for all the lots that he could get out and whatnot. What he did in here was he took the sale that just happened of Eleanor Travis's and backed out and said the land here would be around 710. We only have 633 on it. That's raw land, not counting, he's got a road, he's got a well, he's got a septic. And then the other interesting thing in here is he said if there's a pier, you add 25% to the land value, which is 180,000 in this case, for having a pier.
Does he have a pier?
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
Yep.
there it is.
That was another interesting one in that,
But you don't, do you charge him?
yeah, we charge him for the pier, but.
But not 180,000.
No. And going forward, somehow that's gotta be built into those with pier would have a 25%
So he
added on,
opened up
yeah.
a can of worms, and
He,
essentially.
he did, in a way, but going forward, when we get to land.
Sorry, Bob, I'm sorry.
You have a pier?
I don't have a float.
Yeah, his float's somewhere
You know,
off
is it
on
an
its own
anchor,
journey.
Or is it a mooring? You know,
Yeah,
it's-
his float's off in the journey somewhere in
Took
this,
a vacation.
yeah, out in the Gulf of Maine. So.
Yeah.
But that was kind of fascinating. I mean, obviously, we have not had a sale on $4 million range.
He went up the coast to find comps.
He went to Rockport, he went to St. George, he went to Bristol, and he went to Georgetown. And the other interesting thing, other than the one over in Rockport, his taxes were $65,590. And the one that sold in Rockport for 4.5 had a 68,887, so 4,000 more than this. But the others, there was one that sold for 4.3 and only had 37,000 in taxes. If you go down to St. George, they paid 367,000, 3,667,000, and the taxes were only 12,000.
But they don't have the services.
Bristol, they paid 2,800,000 and had a $8,000 tax bill. And the one in Georgetown, they paid $4,200,000 and had a $27,000 tax bill. So we put in there that, you know, if they were to sell this home, any buyer would certainly think twice about the 66,000 that we were trying to collect in taxes versus those other homes where they don't have the services.
Where they don't have it, exactly.
Yeah.
So the recommendation is to, he is the third highest taxpayer at 4.6 million. If we drop it to 150% instead of 200%, it brings him down to 3.4 million, 403, which is what the appraisal came in at. I think the real difference is in the land. The land is way under.
Which we don't, yeah, which we don't.
Which we haven't done and which we don't have.
Right,
Up to
that's the next step at some point.
The only other high-end home, there's only two of them, was the Baxter Holding Trust One. And they considered applying under his, but are not, but would adjust next year at the same level. If like we do one, we really gotta do the other, but there will be no abatement request on that one. That one, was at 9.2 million, and it would drop to 7.6.
Holy mackerel.
Or 22,904 in reduction. You know, it went up. This one went up 14,000 and increased in tax, and that's what he paid for his appraisal. But that's where we are on our high-end stuff.
So you're being a little kinder
So-
in a way than the appraiser is.
Well, no, the appraisal came in at 3.4.
No, but your suggested tax is, if I'm reading it right, is less than,
It's not more than.
no, but it is less than, you're suggesting on the form, you're suggesting 17,948.
Yes. They were asking for 18,090, so
Ah.
I mean, we're right
So
there.
you've come down a little bit.
They didn't get,
You've given them a little. You're being very kind.
no, they asked for 18,090.
And we're not
So
giving them-
we're not giving
as
them,
much as
They're
that.
giving
we're
us-
not giving them $100
We're not
bucks.
giving a
Um,
Yeah.
did-
Just
but
shoot
in,
me.
but in this, but
Just
in,
shoot me.
Well, within $100.
Yeah.
but in this, does that include the decks?
It includes everything.
Okay, because you, in the report, the decks weren't included, correct? Was that what you said? That's what I thought you said, for square footage,
But you had to read that whole book.
yeah.
It was, yeah, fascinating.
For you, maybe.
For you, I looked at the pictures.
Those are some strange houses. So as far as, yes, they are all valued in there, but they're not valued at the same price as the house. The house would have a much higher
Yeah, I got you.
price
I got you.
compared. But yeah, we got the pool, we don't have enough on his pier, obviously.
Next year.
I'm not saying anything.
Well, that's the last discussion. When do we want to actually
Yeah.
touch land? But
Well, I mean, that's good information to know that
Okay,
they
so how
typically is
much-
25%.
How much money are you giving them back on their taxes?
$17,948.
That's what they're getting back on their taxes. I can't,
That's where I was having confusion.
yeah,
You know,
like,
Their tax bill
Yeah.
was $65,590.
Right, that's where I had a problem. I just couldn't imagine paying that much
I
in
believe the
taxes.
Baxter one was 129,000, and you'll cut it back to one.
holy
100
mackerel.
107.
That's,
Thank you
I don't
for
know,
living in Walden.
But-
I would kind of like to just give them $13,900. Sorry,
No problem.
yeah,
Um,
that's just
And,
amazing.
and it is amazing, and I mean, they're one-of-kind properties. Who knows
Yeah.
what somebody would pay for them?
Yeah.
It's just, or
Yeah.
whether it would sell.
Wow,
But
Right. Is
amazing.
it gonna sell for 3.4 or is it gonna sell for 4.6?
Wow.
You know, and if it does sell for
Amazing.
4.6, then we get snookered.
And then, of course, the other thing is, they have to do it as of April 1st. And the market's always changing, you know, so they went back to April 1st of '22. He indicated that the market peaked in June of '22.
Where?
Exactly.
And it's still going.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
Has it
he,
peaked?
obviously, he's certified to do California and
Yeah,
New York, and,
yeah.
you know, he's.
He knows his
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
There's not a question in that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Wow.
All right.
Tell me again, where are we with this guy?
we basically are $100 short of what he asked for.
Okay, oh, huh. It's a
So
lot of money
with
spent
the
there,
motion
huh?
would be for $17,948 if we accept your recommendation.
Yes.
All right, I'd make that
Yeah.
motion.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
I mean, he did his work to spend 12.
He did.
What did you say, 14,000? So he only really saved 3,900.
Only in 1 year, though.
1 year.
Yeah, next year
Yeah.
you'll,
Yeah, because that gave us a little
be worth it,
info
money.
on the,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah, so
Beer
next
tax.
year his taxes will go up because of his peer. No, just being funny.
Well, you gotta someday.
What? Oh, yeah, I know.
Gary Lundy, I didn't give you that one either, as I just got out there. They bought on Old Route 1, paid $360, and I had
I do have it.
$403 on
Did you
it.
revise it? Oh,
So
I see.
yes,
Yeah,
the
you didn't
revised
have
number
anything
is
there.
406.
Right.
So $46,000 difference. And when did they buy it, Darryl?
They bought it in February of '22. They tried to get more, but the bank refused. There is a garage door on the back side of that garage that all needs replacing. They can't even use it, and that was an apartment above the garage, but the floor is sunken, and they wouldn't
still
go
paid
any higher.
$360 for it?
He's still paying $360, and if he cares to do a bunch of work, he can.
So do we reduce it to 360 because of the repairs?
No, it came in at 374 is what I was.
Oh, I know this house.
So
403 minus 29 gets you down to 374. And then they take the 25 off on the homestead, and he's a veteran too, I believe.
So
Yeah.
there's nobody in that apartment?
No,
I
there's
watched them build some of that, the railings and things.
his wife's friend is there, but once she leaves at the end of the month, it's not gonna be a rental unit at this time.
so what do
It
you
needs work.
recommend?
I recommend taking 406 off. and
406?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought you were saying the property was valued at 406. You had it
was,
valued.
yeah, it was valued at 403.
Oh, 403,
And that
okay.
would drop it to 374.
Yep, okay.
You had originally recommended 602.
That was what the request would, to get it down to the 360.
Okay.
So that was what they requested. And I came up with 406, so I'm within
$186.
dollars of that.
When did they buy that?
They bought it in February.
Okay, yeah.
Sorry, 196.
It was a FHA, or I don't know, whatever they call them. No, it might have been a VA. It was a VA loan.
As I say, FHA, I was,
USAA Federal Savings Bank Veterans Affairs out of Texas.
Yep.
Oh,
was who the
USAA,
appraiser
yeah.
was.
Percy Moody used to own that
I make that motion to
from Bernheimer.
reduce by $406.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
The next one is the main top mill was Robert Weintraub. He sold, moved to Florida. This was up across from Erickson, top of the hill, and they bought the building, but the equipment has all been removed, and the heating system.
So what is that building used for? Nothing?
It's nothing right now. Eric is gonna put a metal roof on it and put solar on the top of it, but I'm not sure what he is.
But it's right out on the, oh, is this the one that's,
Just on top of the hill on the left, where it used to be the camper place.
oh, okay,
It started out as a camper.
camper,
right
okay,
here,
okay.
but the equipment's gone.
Yep. I make that
Oh, yeah.
recommendation. 513.80.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
I didn't know that Weintraub owned that. Didn't he own
Well,
it?
he didn't own it. He
Oh.
owned the business that was
Business,
there.
oh,
But
okay.
the buildings were still owned by the folks that had the
Oh,
camper.
okay.
They still own, do the Moon still own it?
No,
No,
they sold it to they sold it to Dice LLC, but it's Rick Erickson is.
Oh, he does own that.
He does.
Is that the guy who has land across?
Yeah.
Down the hill? Same Erickson?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Weintraub, doesn't he live down on the river there down?
He sold.
Did he sell that? Oh.
Yeah. Cloud Hill, Cloud Hollow, whatever. Mid-Coast Conservancy picked
Okay,
up
good
4
budget.
pieces of land, 9.6 acres up on Perry Green Hill. They got 175 acres with a house on Friendship Road, 21 acres. The Morris's bought up on 300 Jackson Road and give it to Mid-Coast, and then the Philbrook Lane, the 4 acres out in the middle of town, they now own. They applied for exemption on all 4, questioned because they had bought the house with 175 acres and then listed it with 11 acres. It's not on the market now, but what they're gonna do there is put a conservation easement, get it approved by the board, and then sell it with a conservation easement on the 175 acres. So you can own the property, but they're gonna have the easement to it. So I would not, and they agree, do not exempt 2208 Friendship Road, but exempt the others. If that makes sense.
Now, we're reducing the value of the property, not taxes.
So the value would be 11,000 off on the acres. They pay 5% in lieu of, as a token to the town.
So do you want to do this as a package?
You can, it would be exempting the 3 and not exempting the other.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Just a question.
Yes,
Did they correct?
yes.
Thank you.
Today, they gave us the description in there of liberty.
It was wrong. In all 4 letters, it was wrong.
Yeah, it was liberties, because I got liberties too, but she
Okay.
corrected that, and
All right.
I said, well, you're gonna correct Palermo's too? I mean, they got land given to them everywhere. I don't know how many she had, but
All those in favor?
got 2 farms. One is Susan West at 2329 Friendship Road, and the other is Greg Peabody up on Old Augusta Road. And that's what the reductions would be there.
She gave us a good accounting of her revenues.
Yes.
I have no idea what that guy's doing and whether we can rely on what he's telling us.
He does have cattle and hays
Okay.
and does have guys.
Okay.
He had a big chicken house that went up in flames.
Oh,
It had a
really?
bunch of animals in it, but he's rebuilt the barn and,
Okay.
but yes, he's
Okay. So
he's legit.
He's the real.
He's the real farmer.
All right.
He's,
Yep, yep.
You guys know him?
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I've worked for Greg long before
I don't
he
Well, he
even
used
worked
to-
for the town.
He used to work for the town.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah. Yeah, I cut wood with Greg long before he worked for the town. Yeah, before he even bought that property, actually.
I wonder if he's related to Dave Peabody.
I don't know. I guess I'll make that motion to accept the
Farmland.
farmland classifications
For the two.
for the both of them, correct?
Yeah, I second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
And there is one tree growth out on Orf's Corner for 45 acres and takes only 5,000 off because it's basically all backland. And our land for backland, we assess at 500 an acre, so until we up that, they don't get a whole lot off.
I just have a question on the back of the application.
Yes.
The guy, the forester who signed it dated September 8th, 2023, and we haven't reached that date yet.
He's, how do you put
I
that?
don't know what.
He had the wrong year on there.
That's Mark Vanna.
Mark, with
So it
mouse,
should be
mouse?
2022.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Good catch.
Yeah.
Well,
He inspected it in November 2022.
and he prepared the
But
plan
then
in
he signed off
February.
in September of 2022, 2 months before he inspected it.
So, yeah, February would be 23, and he signed in 9 of, but they didn't bring it in because it's not till April 1st. That should have been,
Well, 9/8/23 hasn't happened yet either.
right, the
That's the one
9/8
he's talking
is
about.
22.
Well, this, oh,
The
that's when it
the
expires.
plan
Oh,
expires in 10 years, so that's
Okay,
correct.
that won't
Yeah.
be done.
The only
Okay,
one
so
we're
it's just
messed
that
up on is
one. Okay, just
Mark's.
that.
Because the owner signed it in February. Yeah, that should be a 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're right.
That's submitted to the state though, isn't it, at some point for approval?
Yeah.
And it really does have,
Screw him over.
Well, he
Trees.
has it typed in there, yeah, he has it typed in.
He has the period, I think, yeah.
February of 23 was when he prepared the plan, and it
Right.
expires in 10 years. He inspected in November of 22.
Right, okay.
It's just,
When was the last time it was harvested? I didn't notice that.
I
If it's in
don't know.
tree growth, I mean, it's
Well,
gonna be
it's-
harvested every,
Well, it
so.
hasn't been in, this is the first time, it's just going.
Oh, so it's new.
It's-
So it's just, oh, okay. I see, I get it. I make that motion for the tree growth classification.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
So just to bring you where we are on our sales,
and,
I think the one down in your packet,
Yeah.
Dave?
Yes.
I did a little. So each year they send out, and we have to have back by June 1st, our declared ratio for our reimbursement on all our homesteads, basically. And this is a 2-year-old study, 2020 to 2021, based on pre-reval numbers, we were at 81%. So I had to check off that we did a reval, and with the numbers of the reval, we're at 111. So if you go over about 4 pages, the newest is for 2024, we're at 111, so we can get our full reimbursement. 2025, we should come in with our new numbers around 97, so we're still good. The sales from July of 22 to June of 23, I've given you in the back there, and we're back down to 81% for 2026. So you've got to do something by 2026, but you can do it anytime you want. We can do it
What's
this year,
that?
next year. Revalue land. We can-
Revalue, the land,
the next to do would be the land.
Land, I
It's-
getcha.
It's way outdated as much as the buildings, and but if you wanna wait a couple years.
when was the last time we revalued the land?
I'd have to look, but,
Longer than that?
no, land, generally, we did every 3 years, but the last time we did it, we dropped it because there was a bunch of sales down on the Diva Road particularly. They had 3 sales that were low, the condos had 3 sales that was low, so we went down last time we did it. But those days,
Gone,
history.
yeah. I'd like to find a nice big piece of land somewhere and just,
Forget it.
something you could have bought for 100,000 5 years ago, it was 250, 300. It just, and people wonder why there's no affordable housing. Well, when you pay that much for property, $1,000 an acre versus $3,000 an acre, or even $5,000 an acre, I mean, people don't understand that that increases the value of everything.
So that's where we're at. You can do it anytime you want. We can do it this year, or we can wait, see what happens.
I'm kind of hoping that things will settle down in a year or so. And given interest rate increases, that's got to affect sales. Maybe it's a pipe dream, who knows?
Well, right now, there's no,
But what do we have to
Available.
lose by waiting a year to get ourselves up to where we need to go to get that homestead exemption paid to us by the state?
we're good for 2 years, as far as that is concerned. It would
Yeah.
just, if you wanted to put more of the tax burden on land, and it would take some off homes, basically, but right now, it's all on the homes. And that's one thing we didn't factor in, is that you had to make up that everybody that had just raw land, their taxes went down last year. Because the rate dropped from.
Right.
But it may go right back up with the rate going, went from 18 to 14, and then depending where it goes, 16 or whatever.
I've been listening to a little bit of shows, and they said if the interest rate goes back down to 5%, people are gonna think they're getting a bargain and start buying again.
Really?
If it gets back to 5%, they're gonna think it's a deal, because they're paying 8% right now, 6, 7, 8%.
The one, it was a double wide with a garage up on 220. The minute it came on the listing, it was sale pending, 225. So, I mean, if it's a nice property, it's generally,
I don't understand how revaluing the land is gonna help reduce tax burdens on,
it would put more of the tax onto the land.
but you're still taxing them for the home, and the home is.
But if
value
they
of the
don't,
home
but
is
if you
gonna
don't
go
own,
down.
if you don't own a home,
Ah,
Right, if you just get raw land.
if you just have raw land.
yeah, I mean, there's a bunch
All right.
of,
There's a lot of raw land
Property.
in Waldeboro.
Yeah, that's true.
food for thought.
Kinda like having a pier at low tide, isn't it?
Yes.
Without a float.
Yeah, I think we're gonna be hearing this for a while.
No, it's too
Oh,
rich to
funny.
let go.
That's what I got out of
Yeah,
that,
right.
25%. I don't know how I
Yes.
sell that, but.
Well, what is your recommendation, that we go ahead with the land and see what are we,
I
You said we're good for 2 years.
I assume that you guys don't wanna go through another update, but I'm
When do you leave? When do you retire?
I got 5 years. so I
5
got
years?
full-
Okay, so you'll still
I'll be
be.
around.
Yeah.
All right.
I'll be.
Okay.
continuity is everything.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Go ahead and vote it in.
History, history.
That's right.
History is everything.
Having all that experience.
People have, I'd wait a year,
Yeah.
at least, give them,
See what the market, who knows?
Yeah.
Just I never dreamed we'd see these prices.
no, it's,
Yep.
I thought I had done my duty and was done.
Yep,
There's never been a decade in my life when I've sold at the right time.
yep,
Always at the wrong time.
yep. I know the feeling. I had a property in the back cove.
Yeah.
If I'd have waited,
Yeah.
how much would I have got for that, for
Oh,
my
my
grandfather's
word.
house now?
Yeah.
You know, it'd probably been double.
Yeah.
Is that just land? Yeah.
No, there was a house
There's
there.
a house on it.
That was a 2-bedroom house with a
Yeah.
1-car garage, tire driveway, shore frontage.
So do you want us to do a recommendation now?
No,
Darrell?
no,
Just keep
unless
this
I
in
don't.
mind?
Yeah,
So just make a motion to,
adjourn's
Adjourn.
fine.
motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
any discussion? All in favor?